Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzidchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
What a nice thing is to welcome Shabbat together, to welcome Shabbat in community, and to recognize the beginning of a different time, a time of celebration, a time that we decide to use in order to celebrate our creations, our lives. A palace in time. As we welcome this Shabbat, I invite you to prepare your Shabbos candles. And if you don't have Shabbos candles with you, to look at our Shabbos candles here at TVT as we extend the light of our sanctuary all the way to your homes. We're on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. We invite you to turn your Sidurim to page 130 as we welcome Shabbat, this majestic day, with open hearts as we search for a joyful experience. Lechu nerana la'Adonai.
לכו נרננה לאדוני, נהריע לצור ישנו, נקדם פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה לאדוני, נהריע לצור ישנו, נקדם פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה לאדוני, נהריע לצור ישנו, נקדם פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום בשועתו. לה 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 לה
Seven days, 7 Psalms that help us look back and let go of the week that have passed as we try to enter a different time, a different space. We try to cut the zamer from ourselves, the things that we are carrying and shouldn't be with us as we attempt, as we aim, as we aspire to welcome Shabbat. I invite you to think of some of the heavy lift that you are bringing with you into this Shabbat. Some of the things that you recognize that you are carrying with you, and they will be waiting for you as we finish Shabbos. I invite you to acknowledge them and to set them aside, to let them go for 24 hours as we try to enter this sacred space, this sacred time. We're on page 134, Samru LaAdonai.
Samru LaAdonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar. הריעו לפני המלך אדוני. ירום היום ומנעו,
שמחה וכף אף יחד הרים ירננו אף יחד הרים ירננו. We're on page 136 for Psalm 29, מזמור לדוד.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על מים אל כבוד אילים, אדוני אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בעבר, כל אדוני שובר ארצים וישבר אדוני את עצי אלמנות וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון בציון, כמו בלבנים. כל אדוני עוצב לבודש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול ירון, ויחשוף ירון, ובחלום כולו עובר כבוד, ובחלום כולו עובר כבוד. אדוני לממון ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמיו בשלום. אדוני עוז לעמיו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. את עמו, את עמו, את עמו
בשלום. Beloved, come to meet the bride. Beloved, come to welcome Shabbat. We open our hearts, we open our minds, we open ourselves to the encounter, for the encounter with the divine. Lecha dodi likrat kala. We are on page 138.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekabla, lecha dodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekabla, Shamor v'zachor,
שבת נקבלה, לחדותי לקראת קלה. בשבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור אברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה, איי לחדותי לקראת קלה. בשבת נקלה, לחדותי לקראת קלה. בשבת נקלה, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי, שדברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, בשבת נקלה, לחדותי לקראת קלה, בשבת נקלה. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תאמי, לך יחסו עניי העמים ונבנתה היללתי, איי לחדותי לקראת קלה. בשבת נקלה, לחדותי לקראת קלה. בשבת נקלה. The last verse of Lechadodi invites us to rise and to turn toward the entrance of wherever we are as we acknowledge the coming of Shabbat HaMalkah, the Shabbos Queen. Bohi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam v'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula. Bohi chala, איי לחדותי לקראת קלה. בשבת נקלה, לחדותי לקראת קלה. בשבת נקלה. We have welcomed Shabbos, and so it is time to welcome each other, to acknowledge each other's presence, and to say Shabbat Shalom to each other. So if you are connecting with us in Zoom, this is a great opportunity to turn your camera on, to show your face, and to wave to each other, and to say good Shabbos. Go for it. I know that some of you are having dinner, and that's totally fine. So we'd love to see you. We'd love to see your faces. We'd love to see your presence. Some of you are coming from the car. Look at that. We see our community coming all over the place. What a great thing. This for us together, and to see your faces and to connect with each other. And of course, we acknowledge those connecting with us in YouTube and in Facebook, and all those that are here in person, present. On our entire team. I'm visitant. Here at TVT, Evan and Gavi and Akram and Zaki. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is on us now to transform this evening of Friday into an Erev of Shabbat, into a Shabbat experience. We dedicate to Shabbat one more song. We're on page 140 from Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat.
Mizmor Shir, Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, השיר, שיר ליום השבת.
Page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, בעל בד יברך קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה לעמידן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
I invite you to please rise and to turn your Siddurim to page 146 for Barhu, as we acknowledge the unity of God in the diversity of our community.
ברכו את אדוני, יללי 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 המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מרהיב ערבים, בחוכמה פותח שרים, ובתבונה משנה עתים, מחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzebaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening, Baruch atah Adonai, המעריף Ravim.
אמן.
ואת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. Everlasting love you offer your people Israel by teaching us Torah, mitzvot, laws and precepts. And as we get closer to the Shema, I invite you to take a moment and close your eyes and to be intentional of the work of opening our hearts. We are the people of the Shema, the people of the listening. We try to listen, to be mindful, to be aware of the many things around us that symbolize the love that is surrounding us, the love that we experience in our daily lives and sometimes we struggle to recognize. As we get closer to the Shema, we access that ability, that awareness that help us recognize, embrace, and be embraced by this everlasting love. And as you think of that love in your life, I invite you to picture it, to let it surround you. And as you are surrounded by that love, let it be light. Let that love be a light that surrounds you and becomes the air you breathe. Breathe in and out. Let your system in the Shabbat be filled with love. And as you exhale, acknowledge the things that you are carrying within your system that don't belong to you. Let them go. Fill yourself, fill your system with love. And once again, invite you to take a deep breath. As we say, באהבתך, your love. אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. Never remove your love from us. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Blessed are you, Adonai, who love your people, Israel. Once again, take a deep breath. Become one. We're on page 152 for the Shema.
Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Please join me in the chanting of the Hafta on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת ובאמונה כל זאת בקיים עלינו. כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, אין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. When your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moshe, Miriam, And all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices with joy. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that we worship? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? As it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. As we think of the challenges we are facing in our lives, obstacles that sometimes seem to be impossible to overcome, we remember that great journeys, successful journeys, start by the ability, the willingness to dare, to make a first step, to risk, to move forward. As we say, praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Israel. Grant, O God, that we lay down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to Chaim Mechudashim, to renewed life. Help us be creators, seekers, builders of your tent of Shalom, the sukkah of your peace. We're on page 160, Ashkivenu.
Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu Shamrei, Na'lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu Shamrei, Na'lechaim ufros aleinu. Sukkot shlomecha, v'tagneinu b'etzah tova milefanecha. Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu Shamrei, Na'lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu Shamrei, Na'lechaim. Ushmor satenu. ולשלום ואתה והעולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום
לשלום, ונעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ונעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over your holy city, city of your peace, ירושלים. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. It is a challenge, an invitation for every single generation to enter the covenant of remembering, keeping Shabbat as a part of our lives, and to let Shabbat to keep us alive. We're on page 164 for Tfilat Amidah. We hope for these words to become our prayer. תגיבו לעולם אדוני עמך, הייתי נתן רע לאשר. May God guard me and guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Before those who slander me, I will hold my tongue. I will practice humility. Dear God, open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. As for all who think evil of me, cancel their designs and frustrate their schemes. Act for your own sake, for the sake of your powers, for the sake of your holiness, for the sake of your Torah, so that your loved ones may be rescued. Save with your power and answer me. ולרצון אמרי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני, צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל עמו ישראל, ואמרו,
Amen.
Amen. As we turn our Sidurim to page 371, we think of those that are in need of healing. We think of those that are in need of healing of the body, of those that are in need of healing of their spirit. We think of those dealing with addictions. We think of mourners whose hearts are broken as we join together in prayer. Mishaberach. To all of them, to all of you, to all of us, רפואה שלמה והחלמה מהירה, a complete and a fast recovery, and let us say,
Amen.
I know this looks unusual, but we had a printer problem in the temple. We'll be fine. The president is here. Don't worry, president, it will be fine. I was alone in the building and I couldn't manage to print my Bar Torah. So it might be my fault, it might be the printer's fault. But here I am with my computer for the first time in a service. It is I'm not sure, is this a Shechayanu moment? No, I'm not sure, I will tell you an anecdote. I think it's very timely, now that I am standing in a service with a computer. Years ago, when we founded the Shchunia, the congregation, I was a partner or a founding member in Haifa. My partner in crime, Rabbi Kobi Weiss, who came actually from an ultra-Orthodox background. He was an ordained rabbi in the ultra-Orthodox world. And I planned the entire service. It was going to be the first service in the Shchunia. And, I was a Reform rabbi in training that grew up in a conservative synagogue. So we had phones, we just didn't show our phones to each other. Right? We hid them for services. We didn't check our pagers in services. We didn't make a big deal about using our cars, but we did use our cars. Now, it would never occur to me to use my cell phone during the service. And we are in the middle of the service, and Kobe was going to share the first Bar Torah in the history of the congregation that we were founding together. And he takes his iPhone and says, "These are the ideas I want to share." And I almost passed out. From my perspective, it was like the most terrible thing he could do. Like I have gotten used to it since, but it's interesting that in the environment in which I grew up, that was so unusual. Now, for Kobe, who was originally, and not anymore at that point, an ultra-Orthodox Jew, using his iPhone was equal to me playing guitar. Like, it was the same thing from his perspective. It made no difference. So, it's very interesting to see what are the elements, what are the devices that help us in prayer, and there's no doubt that our computers became one of them, particularly in the midst of a pandemic, in which all those that are connecting with us, you are connecting with your computers or through your computers. So we are both now looking at our computers and at each other. So let's talk about this Torah portion. והיו חיי שרה 100 שנה ו20 שנה ו7 שנים שני חיי שרה. ותמות שרה בקריית ארבע וחברון בארץ כנען ויבוא אברהם לספוד לשרה ולבכותה. Sarah's lifetime, the span of Sarah's life, came to 127 years. Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, known today as Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham proceeded to mourn Sarah and eulogize her. Now, symbolically, the idea of eulogizing Sarah, our mother, the one who gave birth to the Jewish people, is an invitation to think about the life of the Jewish people. And so, the quality of our life and our own lifespan. Often, when dealing with death, we are faced with the fragility of our own lives. Can you hear me well? No. May I say that you can? So we have mixed opinions, Saki. Now it's good. Okay. Thank you for your faces. Those that were able to hear and those that weren't able to hear, because we want you to be able to hear. So I was saying that when we think of the death of someone who is close, it often makes us reflect and think about the fragility of our own lives. So there are two more modern events that happen around the time of this Torah portion that emphasize the fragility of our people, the fragility of the life of the Jewish people. And you can distinguish between them as what's killing us mibifnim, from inside out, and what's killing us mibachutz, from the outside. I'm referring to the assassination of Prime Minister Itzhak Ravim on November 4th, 1995, and the massacre in Pittsburgh on October 27th, 2018. Itzhak Ravim was assassinated by a despicable Jewish killer in the midst of an ill political and public discourse, which felt like it had no boundaries and proved itself to indeed not to have them. It is a fact that Ravim's assassination was the result of a political divide. As we said, it was in the midst of an ill civic discourse. And true, his killer was a fanatic right-winger. Now, today, with the perspective of 26 years from this event, we should ask if we were able to bridge some of the gaps in which this event took place, or if we were able to deal and heal the aftermath of this event. And regrettably, I believe that the answer is no and no. Since Ravin's death, there has been a strong tendency on the left to accuse the entire right of his assassination and to accuse the right for destroying any hope for peace. Now, the problem with this is that this generalization is by definition alienation. It is the denial of the possibility for those who disagree, politically disagree, to mourn a prime minister that represented the entire people. It is the rejection of alternative ideologies and paths in the search for peace. And it is the objectification of the ideological other to be the source of all what's wrong in our world. Now, I hope that you can see how this transcends Ravin's life and death and is a testimony of our lack of ability to acknowledge the dignity of our diversity. And we are not only talking about Israel. What's happening in Israel in the context of Ravin's death is a mirror of what happens in the United States, in the American jury, as we approach our internal diversity. How often we relate to fellow groups in the Jewish community basing ourselves on generational differences. The Jewish community is dying because of the millennials, because they don't care. How often we approach all our challenges by blaming those that have different levels of observancy. It's because the ultra-Orthodox. It's because that the reforms that don't do this or do that. We are constantly accusing and blaming each other. And of course, when we talk about Israel, If you are a right-winger, you believe that half of the Jewry are self-hating Jews. If you're a left-winger, and of course this is a generalization, or maybe a mirror. If you're a left-winger, you believe that all those that don't think like you, they are of course haters. They hate everyone who is different. They don't want any kind of peace. We tend to objectify the other and convert otherness in the source for all wrong. And that's by definition, my friends, wrong. But I don't believe that the foundation of our problems is our diversity. It is rather our lack of engagement and respect toward each other. We shouldn't be so preoccupied with what separates between us. We need to honor our differences and at the same time create bridges and find opportunities to come together. The assassination of Itzhak Ravim keeps killing us because we keep growing apart as opposed to growing together. That's what's killing us from inside. When we defeat this illness by reclaiming our love for each other, about Israel, our interest, our curiosity, and our willingness to break our silos, honoring and sometimes even celebrating our differences, our diversity. In that moment, we will be able to say, L'chaim, that's for life. In that moment, we will be able to see rebirth and renewal. Now, let's take a moment to address what's killing us from the outside. Let's talk about Pittsburgh for a moment. October 27th, 2018. A group of Jews was davening Saturday morning, and they were assassinated in their place of worship, in the place in which they were celebrating Shabbat. Now, I want to set something very clear. There is megamat aliyah, there is a growing anti-Semitic phenomenon in the United States. Anti-Semitism is not disappearing. It's getting bigger and more challenging. And the numbers speak by themselves. Now, the enterprise of anti-Semitism is to eliminate our identity, to eliminate our essence. And here's the thing that I think we all need to consider. Those that died in Pittsburgh, they weren't there because they were proud Jews, as we like to say. We want our children, we want Jews to be proud. We want Jews to fight anti-Semitism. Being a proud Jew and fighting anti-Semitism is a reaction to our very broken world. And yes, we need to react to our very broken world. But first, we need to affirm and strengthen, or maybe at the same time, our foundations, the essence of our existence. The essence of our existence is not to defend our existence, it's to be. And so each of us needs to define, if you really want to confront, if you really want to face anti-Semitism, you need to define, you need to be able to face the fact that you want to be a Jew and celebrate your Jewish identity. Not just to say that you want to be a proud Jew, just be a Jew. the victims of Pittsburgh, they were davening in Shabbos morning. They weren't reacting to something else. They were Jews. And I think that for us, not only in order to honor their lives, in order to honor our own lives, our own Judaism, is to find paths to celebrate Jewish life. Going back to the previous topic, also to celebrate the diversity of Jewish life and to acknowledge the diversity of Jewish life. But first, to define how we are going to live our lives Jewishly. And then, yes, of course, to do it with pride and to defend our right to be Jews. But because there is an essence, because there is meaning behind that. There's one more thing. The Torah portion starts by saying that Sarah lived for 127 years. These are the days of the life of Sarah, says the Torah portion. The rabbis explain that she was able to live her life fully. She lived a life of connection, a life of purpose. And therefore, every single one of her days and years counted. The rabbis also say that you cannot die if you don't live. And I think that as we think of the death of our mother Sarah, of the mother of the Jewish people, and we say, this is the life of Sarah, and then we think about her passing, what we are acknowledging is that she had a fruitful, meaningful, and connected life. And maybe that's our legacy for the Jews, to think how we today we are going to have a life of connection as opposed to a life of separation from each other. A life in which we acknowledge, celebrate, and reach out to each other in our diversity. And a life in which we work every day to define how it is worth to be lived. And we let our tradition, our Jewish tradition, to enlighten our eyes, enlighten our path, and connect to our time and to each other. May we have a meaningful Shabbat, Shalom, Umevorach. We will continue our service on page 586. Please rise. You may be seated. Take a moment to acknowledge mourners in our community. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning, please rise. If you are during the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, please rise. I see Barbara and Alicia there. Remembering Rabbi Art. If you are during the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise and share the names of those you are remembering. I see Mark standing up, remembering his mother Rita.
And I'm remembering Joe and Giano.
If you have a yahrzeit this week, the anniversary of someone passing by this time of the year in years past, please rise. I know that Ron is remembering a beloved friend today. And I see, Johnny, you are standing as well. Mark, I didn't see you before. Mark Abramovich is also remembering his father. He's in the cycle of the first year of mourning. We invite all those connecting with us in Zoom and in YouTube and Facebook to please share the names of those you are remembering as we bring our hearts together for Kaddish Avelim, Mourners Kaddish, on page 598.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחיי חון וביומי חון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו
אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי אלמיה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו
אמן.
יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Amen. May the memories of your beloved ones be always a blessing. Yeh Zichram Baruch. Now talking about eulogies and talking about memories, and I was discussing with someone sometime in the past, maybe between 1 or 2 weeks. Forgive my forgetfulness. It happened not today. I was discussing with someone about Sarah's life. And this beloved friend says, well, I don't know, like Sarah, she's such a difficult character. And I want to make a case in Sarah's favor. And I will make my case tomorrow morning. So if you are wanting or you're excited to hear a slightly different reading of the Pshat, of the first layer of the Torah about Sarah's story, join us tomorrow morning for Shacharit Shel Shabbos, and I hope I will be able to share some ideas that I find important in terms of remembering Sarah, articulating them, so we can also shape the memory of the mother of Israel. If you're curious, I hope you are, come tomorrow to Shul. Now, with that said, a side note, do we have anyone here in the Zoom call that came to the last Israel trip? No. So Henry Cohen is there. So Henry, this is important for you, but also for everyone else. So our tour guide, the tour guide in our last trip to Israel, Moshe Gold, the fantastic Moshe Gold, will be visiting Los Angeles, and we invited him to visit TVT, so we will be sharing a day. Moshe is also a photographer and a teacher, so we will, in the next couple of days, we will be sharing a date for those that want to listen some wonderful ideas and some wonderful insight about Israel and to see some incredible pictures. And for those that want to see Moshe once again, to join us. It's likely going to be on Wednesday, November 10th, a day after the Crystal Nacht. So if you'd like to get to know Moshe and to hear about Israel and some of the most interesting social enterprises happening in Israel, join us. We'll confirm it, but it's 90% that is going to happen on November 10th at 6 p.m. With that said, I want to thank once again all those that participated in the Mitzvah Day. It was so wonderful. I see many of you here that were engaged. I don't want to start saying names because I'm sure that I will miss someone. But
just so many.
True, because there's so many people. But in the Zoom call, I can see people that, in here in person also, that donated blood, that 3,000 pieces, or so many generous people. It was such a wonderful experience for us as a community to feel the impact, the difference that we can make together. So thank you for being here, for donating of your time, of your resources, of your work, and literally of your body, for those that were able to give blood. So really, we're really grateful. Tomorrow, Havaya Ba'erev, in the evening, we will have our Havaya religious school with Abdallah, and also we have a trunk or treat. So if you'd like to participate, please let Rachel know. With that said, we will move ahead into Kiddush. Kiddush is on page 122. Do you have it?
Yeah.
We say, ויחולו השמיים בארץ בכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי וחברותיי, ברוך אתה ה' אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה ה' אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו, ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון, הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, עם כל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת לחיים. And as we start to conclude our service, we make sure that we share our blessings with each other. That we recognize the loving faces, the loving hands of those that love us, of those that have loved us, of our parents, of our grandparents, those that held our existence. We acknowledge that in Shabbat, in this world of time, we have the ability and the opportunity to connect with each other in the realm of time. That we can travel back in time and once again feel the love of the generations as we carry the blessings of a millennia-old tradition. And we share this blessing also with our children. We tell them, Yasimchem Elohim כפריים וכמנשה, ימשיכם אלוהים כשרה רבקה רחל בלאה. May God bless all of you to be like the parents of Israel. We tell them, יברככם אדוני וישמרכם. May God bless you and protect you. May God help you find blessings in your path. May you build connections that help you feel safe. May you build communities. May you build a home. Yer Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. Isa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you feel God's presence within you always. And may God bless you with the ability to find meaning, to find a way, your way, to a fruitful life. May God remove from your heart hatred, and may God fill you with the gift of wholeness, of love and peace. Adonai os le'amav iten. Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tassim Le'olam.
Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tassim Le'olam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tassim Le'olam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tassim Le'olam.
וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך
ישראל
בכל עת
ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. 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 Good Shabbos.